Welcome everyone. My name is Hemu and this is the second lecture of our Palo Alto and Panorama interview question and answer series. Now in today's class, we are going to discuss another 15 question, right? How to add Palo Alto firewall in Panorama, what is secure communication, what are the daemons involved in your secure communication, what is HA in Panorama, what is the commit in Panorama, right? What are the checks we need to do if firewall and Panorama is not able to communicate with each other? What is the device group in Panorama? What is shared device group in Panorama? Then what Panorama policy order, right? If we have pushed some policies from Panorama, right? Now how your firewall going to put in an order and in which order it is going to process all the policies, right? Then we will discuss what is disable override option in your object groups. Then we will see what is unused share object option inside your Panorama. What happen if object pushed from Panorama have the same name as locally defined object, right? So these are the couple of questions which I am going to target today, guys. Now, let me just come here. So these are the initial 15 questions which I have discussed yesterday, guys. Now you will find these questions recording into my video portal. So this is the video portal and here I have created this particular course. Palo Alto Firewall and Panorama interview question and answer course by Hemu sir, right? So here you will get all your recording and yesterday recordings also I have put here. You can see this is your yesterday session. Okay, so this is the place where you will get your recordings. Okay, now let me just move towards your today's class first question which is how to add Palo Alto firewall in Panorama or how to manage external firewalls with Panorama. Means let's suppose we have a this kind of scenario. I have my Panorama device. Let's suppose this Panorama I am having on my data center, one of my data center on-prem. And after that, let's suppose I have around 20 firewalls on AWS cloud. And I have around 30 firewalls into my branch office. And I have around 10 firewalls into my headquarter site. And I have around 6 firewalls into my data center. Let's say I just have a 3 data centers. I have around 5 headquarter sites, right? In branches, let's suppose I am having Palo Alto Firewall 820. This is the Palo Alto model number. In headquarter, let's suppose I have PA 30 to 20 device. In data center, let's suppose I am having Palo Alto 50 to 20 series box. And in AWS cloud, I am having some Palo Alto VM devices, virtual appliances. Now, if I want to add them, because now I want to do the centralized management of all these particular devices, which means now I need to add these devices into this Panorama, right? Now, how we generally used to do this thing. So what you have to do, you have to first get the serial number of your device. So from this Palo Alto firewalls, what you will get, you will take the serial number of this device. And after that, you will go into this Panorama and you will basically just add the serial number of your firewall into this particular Panorama. Once you will done with that, after that, what you have to do, you have to log in into your firewall and there are some settings inside your firewall where you have to provide the IP address of your Panorama devices. So this is the process, guys. Now let's try to understand this process. So what you have to do, we have to configure the new firewalls to connect to the Panorama IP address. Means we have to configure the management interface of your firewall, right? So we can, at least my firewall can able to reach the Panorama. Means first of all, we have to establish the connectivity. And right now, if I will go into my firewall, and if I want to check the connectivity with my Panorama, I can run this command and I will just put the IP address of my Panorama device, which is 192.168.137.51. And you can see here, I can able to ping, which means I have the connectivity with the Panorama. This is the first thing which you have to do. And after that, what you have to take, you have to get the serial number of your Palo Alto firewall. For that, you have to run this command. So system info match serial. And if you will run this command, you will get the serial number of your firewall, right? What you have to copy this serial number, you have to log in into your Panorama. So wait here. You can go to into Panorama tab here inside your Panorama. And now you have to click on this managed device. Right here, you will see this summary tab. Now in this summary, you have to click on add, and here you have to provide the serial number of your firewall. So this is how we have to add the serial number of your firewall. Let me just add here some bogus serial number. See, I have added the serial number. Now what I will do, I'll go into this firewall device tab. The process is, guys, very straightforward. Now you have to go to into this Panorama settings. Just wait here, it is just still loading. Click on this gear icon and you will see you have to provide the IP address of your Panorama here, and you have to click on OK. That's it, and you are done. Once you will do that, you have to hit the commit and you are done with the adding or onboarding of your Palo Alto firewall with Panorama. The same thing you can also able to do with the help of CLI, right? If you want to, if you know the serial number of your firewall, what you have to do, you have to go here into config mode, type it set Panorama. Now you have to run this command set Panorama. Oh, let me just go like this. Set. There is a setting. Device config, system. Not this one. So we don't have in this option into the panel. There is a command actually. Generally command. Okay, this managed config devices. Now here you will get all your devices. Now what you have to do, if you want to add any device, you can put that device details. You can provide the IP address of that device 192.168.137. Like any IP address. Let's say this is the IP address of your firewall. Hit enter and just hit the commit. That's how you have to add this device into the Panorama. Now, if you will go here, if you will refresh, you will see the another device just now I have added, right? So this is the CLI command which you have to use. Set management config devices, the serial number and IP address. That's it. Even though you can skip this IP address, not required. Okay. Now, if you go into this firewall and if you, in this file, if you want to do the configuration, you have to run this concept device config system Panorama settings. Now here you can define the local Panorama. Just define the Panorama first Panorama IP address, anything 192.160.137.51. And if you have a Panorama secondary, like in HA, then define the secondary Panorama IP address as well. So guys, that's how we will generally add your Palo Alto firewalls inside the Panorama. I hope everyone is okay. Now, in this question, if you will see here, how to manage the external firewalls with Panorama, because you know guys, even though see these devices, right? Whatever devices I'm having into my on-prem environment, I can manage them easily, right? But let's suppose if I have some devices into the cloud environment, how I will manage them? So the cloud firewalls generally what you have to do, either you can establish the IPsec VPN, either you can take the direct connect service from these cloud providers. The third one, the which is the most used one, which is you can just allocate one public IP address also into your Panorama, and whatever firewalls you are having, like these managed devices over the internet, they will just get connected by this IP address, the public one. So that's how we generally use to manage all such kind of devices basically in the infrastructure. And that's how we generally use the devices, or that's how we will basically add the Palo Alto firewall with Panorama. Okay. Now, I hope guys everyone understand how to onboard Palo Alto firewall with Panorama, or how to integrate Palo Alto firewall with Panorama, or how to add Palo Alto firewall with Panorama for centralized management purpose. Yes, no on the chat guys. Everyone got this thing? You need to take out the firewall serial number, log in into Panorama, go to into manage device in Panorama tab and just add the serial number. After that, come back to log in into your firewall, go to into setup tab, Panorama settings, and go into this Panorama settings, put the Panorama primary Panorama IP address and the secondary. That's it. Very easy. Now let's try to understand the another question, which is what is secure communication in Panorama and Firewall? Guys, just tell me one thing. I have the firewalls here. This is my firewall in headquarters. These are the firewall which I have into my branch. These are the firewall which I have into regional office. These are the firewall which I have into some remote sites. And this is my Panorama somewhere, right? Maybe sometime you will be having some Panorama in your some data centers, or maybe you have your Panorama in the public cloud environment like AWS or GCP. So guys, overall these devices, right, they are either communicating via MPLS link. If they are communicating with the MPLS link, it's a secure link. But let's suppose they are also communicating with the internet. Means if they are having the connectivity through the internet, which means there is some problem, right? If we are sending this traffic, because you know all type of configuration we are doing from this Panorama, right? For these firewalls, whatever rules all the rules are available here, right? All the configuration of these devices we are having into this device, right? And it is pushing this type of configuration through the internet. This is an unsecure environment, right? Means we need some type of security during the communication between your firewalls and your Panorama, right? Means they can able to at least communicate in a secure environment, and they can able to maintain the CIA, right? Confidentiality, integrity, and authenticity in the data, right? So for that, what this Panorama and firewalls, they used to communicate in a secure channel using the TLS security. Just guys, give me 1 second. How they will secure the communication using the TLS, transport layer security protocol, or you know SSL, secure socket layer, right? So they will utilize the TLS here for making that particular communication securely. Apart from this, there are so many things. There is so many things, guys, right? Let me tell you one more thing. This Panorama have one master secret or one master key. These firewalls, they will also have a one master key. So guys, let's suppose you have added one user here. Let's suppose you have defined the username and you have defined the password, right? Now this password, guys, they will encrypt by using this particular master key. Even though there is a secure tunnel is there is a secure TLS tunnel, but still whenever they are communicating through this tunnel, they will encrypt whatever password, whatever security keys you are having by using these master keys, just to secure your password if someone has hijacked your SSL or TLS connection. So that's how they will maintain the secure communication. By default, they use the default certificates for the communication purpose, because if they are using here TLS maintain the security with the help of public key infrastructure, with the help of certificates, and by default they use the default certificate. But you can also change that behavior. You can use your custom certificates. You can create a dedicated certificate for every firewall. You can create a dedicated certificate for the panorama. So while they are communicating, they will use these certificates. So it will make the communication more secure. So that's how they will maintain the secure communication when they are communicating with each other. So I hope, guys, this question is clear. Yes, no? Okay. So if somebody asks what is secure communication, you are able to answer in your interviews, right? Now let's try to understand some more. I do have few more questions with regards to the secure communication. What are the demons involved in the secure communication? So guys, I have seen there are some demons which involves in the secure communication whenever your Palo Alto and your Panorama is communicating with each other. And how we can basically run the debugs, or how we can check the logs of these particular demons. So let me just tell you what are the demons involved in this particular communication. So in Panorama, we have a demon called a management server. We have a one more demon, which is config D. So these are the two demons which involves in the secure communication in your Panorama. In your firewalls, there is a one demon, sorry guys, which is management server, which involves in the secure communication. So these are the two demons which involves in the secure communication between your firewall and Panorama. And if you want to run the debugging into these demons, how you will do that? In your Panorama, what do you have to do? You can go into this Panorama, run this command debug management server on. You can define the debug level. You want to run as a debug level or dump level generally. If you want more logs, you can run at debug level. If you want to see everything, then run as a dump level. By default, this daemon is in info level. This is the default one. So let me just run with the debug level. I have run this debugging, and if you want to check the status of this daemon, you can run this command. So system software status. You will see your management process is running, right? And also your config D process also running. So if you have any issues with regards to the communication, right, or they are not able to establish the secure communication, you have to check these particular daemons. Log file you can able to see inside the MP log directory, and the log file name is ms.log. This is the daemon, and guys, you can see, you will see all the logs here. You will get, if I search with the log by using the firewall IP address, which is 21, 192, 168, 137.21. I don't have much logs here for now. But this is the place where you will able to see all the logs. Basically, your firewall is connected. Like whatever what's going on, you will see everything here. See, everything you will see here, all the logs. And if you really wants to see the live logs, you can always run this command by using tail follow years mplog ms.log, and you will get the latest log. Basically, see, verification of certificate just now succeeded between your firewall and this particular device, firewall and your panorama. In firewall, if you want, you can also run the debugging, the same command debug management server on at debug level, tail follow yes mplog ms.log, and you will see all type of communication which is happening between your panorama and your firewall. See, you can see some this daemon is also involved in some other process, right? But this is the daemon who will take care of your secure communication. If there is any problem, you will see the live logs here. Now, if you will turn on the debugging, what you have to do, you have to set back to the info level. So this is the command which we generally use to set your debugging at the info level again. Apart from this, as I have mentioned, there is a one more daemon. So if you will run this tail follow yes mplog config d.log, this is the daemon where you will see what type of configuration panorama is pushing towards your devices, everything. What's going on here, you will see everything here. Set the debugging back to the normal, which is info. Don't need to run any commit, nothing. It just this is just a operational level command. So guys, I hope this question is also clear. What are the daemons involved in your secure communication and how to run the debug in these kind of daemons, guys? This is clear? Yes, no? Okay, guys, now let's try to understand what is HA in Panorama and how Panorama HA works. Means now we will try to understand the high availability in Panorama. So guys, your Panorama device, it supports the high availability, which is your active passive high availability only. So this is the first thing which you have to remember. Panorama is only supported active passive high availability. There are some prerequisite if you want to put two devices in HA, like same model number, they should have a same model number. Means if this device is M70, then another device should be also M70. Your Panorama, they have a same operating system. Let's say here if you have 10.2.3, then this version is also have operating system. Here also we will see it should have 10.2.3. They also need same type of plugins. There is a concept of plugins, guys. So they need a same plugin in both the devices. Okay, and your Panorama, both the Panorama, they have a same dynamic updates. Means if Panorama 1 have a application update which is 7755, then here also you will need a same version number. Means both need same versions. When you will enable the Panorama or when you will enable the HA between these two panoramas, there is a one management interface, right? M0x0 interface in both the devices. They use this interface for the communication purpose with each other. for the config synchronization, for the HA state synchronization, for sending the heartbeat messages and your hello messages. And they will use this interface for sending your capability messages as well. They will communicate using the port number, which is 28260, because you know Panorama 1 will communicate with Panorama 2, and there is a one daemon called system daemon, sysd, and these daemons like Panorama 1 sysd will communicate with Panorama 2 sysd using port number 28260 for sending the heartbeat messages and your hello messages, right? What they used to create one raw connection, which is a ICMP connection, and they use this connection for exchanging the heartbeat messages or your keep alive messages and your config synchronization and your hello messages or your capability messages. They will also exchange using the same interface, but they will use here port number 28769. And guys, let's suppose these two panoramas I am having just in same data center on same rack, means they have a direct connectivity. These management interface, they have a connectivity through one of the switch. They can able to reach directly with each other. But think about the scenario, guys. Let's suppose this panorama you have in somewhere in USA, and this panorama too, let's say you have in Singapore, and you wants to enable the HA between them. Now what will happen? What you only need a connectivity through this management interface, but now your traffic is coming from USA to Singapore, right? All the config they will do through this thing, means in that case we need to at least we can send this traffic via encryption just to add some security here. In that case, they will start communicating using TCP port number 28. So this is how your HA works. That's how your high availability works in your panorama environment. And these are the few things which you need to remember, guys. Now, let me tell you one thing. When you will enable the high availability between your panorama, one panorama will become your active primary, and the second panorama will take the role of active primary and active secondary. One panorama is active primary, another one is active secondary. Sorry, passive secondary. Not active. This is your active primary and this is your passive secondary. If this panorama fails, that time this panorama will take the role of your active and it will do the synchronization with your firewalls. Now, guys, there is a one issue which most of the time people have faced, because you know, let's suppose this panorama they have deployed somewhere in USA and this panorama they have deployed somewhere in Singapore. Now let's suppose there is some issue is going on in your backbone network, and the through this management interface they are not able to communicate with each other. What will happen? They will not able to communicate with each other. This is a split brain kind of scenario, guys. Now how they will handle this split brain situation? In that case, what will happen? This panorama check if there is any firewall is connected with this. This panorama also check if there is any firewall because whatever firewalls I'm having here, they used to maintain the connection with both the panoramas. Just remember, right? So this panorama check into this firewall. Is this firewall having any connection with the secondary? That's how they will basically detect the split brain kind of environment. So if this is the case, like there is a one firewall like firewall 1, it has the connectivity with panorama 1 and also panorama 2. In that case, this secondary panorama, it will went on suspend state automatically. It will not take the role of active panorama. So that's how they will basically take care the split brain situation here. Now guys, which panorama will become active primary and which panorama will become passive secondary? So we have to define, there is a one value which is priority. If we will define the priority 50 here and 100 here, in that case, your panorama 1, it will become the active primary, means lower number is preferred. Now let's suppose there is a one person who is decided to put the priority same, means he has decided to put the priority 50 here and 50 here. Now in that case, what will happen? What do you think, guys? What you guys think? Just write on the chat. What will happen in that case? Chandresh, he has replied, it may not accept. It will accept, man. Election is going to happen, man. Election always going to happen. No, they will not check the MAC address, nothing. Not check the IP address, nothing like that. Now let me just tell you. If somebody has configured the same priority in both the panoramas, what will happen? The panorama who is having high serial number, that panorama will went on suspend state. That's the answer for this question. Just remember. Okay. Now, what we have in HA apart from this, let me just remember. Okay, there is a one more thing, guys. Like in your Palo Alto HA environment, there is a one daemon called HA agent here and HA agent here. They both daemons they use to communicate by using this management interface on port number 28769. In case of clear text communication, in case of encrypted, they will communicate on TCP28. Here also TCP. So this is daemons is available in your panorama who will maintain the high availability logic. Okay, who will maintain the high availability logic. Okay, so that's all about, guys, your what these are the few things which you need to remember in your panorama environment if you are going to configure them in HA. I hope, guys, this question is clear to everyone. Yes, no on the chat. Okay, there is a one person he asked high serial number means 10 is higher than 5, right? So they will calculate in similar way. Now, let's try to understand what is commit in panorama and what are the types of commit, or what are the different phases of commit. So guys, everyone know if somebody asks what is commit. So what do you understand with the commit, guys? What you will think, what is this commit? What it's used to do generally? No one knows. I got lots of good answers. Let me just tell you now. So generally, guys, commit is a process which, so always remember in your firewall, we have two planes, management plane and data plane. In your management plane, we have a file called candidate config file. In your data plane, we have a file called running config. So guys, whatever configuration you will do, in your panorama or in your firewall, it will always is stored into the candidate config file. And if you want to run this configuration on the firewall, which means you need to copy the candidate config file into running config file. So for that, you have to run the command, which is commit. So what commit used to do? Commit just copy the candidate config file with the running configuration file. Means it will use to save the configuration. It just used to whatever changes we have done. We want to make these changes up and running on the firewall. That in that case, we have to do the commit command. This is the main job of your commit. Now we have a different types of commit. The first commit is known as auto commit. The second type of commit is commit force. And the third type of commit is commit partial. These are the guys few types of your commit process. Now what happens in auto commit? What happens in commit force? What happens in what do you understand with the commit partial? That we will discuss in some other other lectures, okay? Because these are the some quite long topics. Now this commit, it has some phases. So your commit has around 3 phases: phase 0, phase 1, and we have a phase 2. So these are the 3 phases of your commit process. If you know these phases, now there are so many things which we need to discuss with regards to this commit and all. Okay, there are lots of daemons, and in Palo Alto Firewall there are around 19 process who will utilize the commit. Okay, there are around 19 process who utilize the commit, basically commit process. Okay, so these things I'm not going to discuss. Now let's try to understand what is device group concept, guys. Let me go here. Sorry guys, what are the checks we need to do? What are the checks we need to do if firewall and panorama is not able to communicate with each other, right? So guys, what are the checks generally you are recommending here? Write on the chat. What are the checks according to you are recommending? First one, we will validate the connectivity. Second thing, we will validate the serial number. Third thing, we validate if there is any fragmentation is going on in the path. Fourth thing, we will validate the certificate. Fifth thing, we will validate the master key. So guys, these are the some. Yeah, there's a last thing, which is also PAN operating system of your firewall. These are the few things which we need to generally check to see if there is any communication error between your panorama and firewalls. If you are not able to troubleshoot by using these things, then you have to run the debug into your management server daemon, and you have to verify the logs into, you have to verify the ms.log file. This is for high level troubleshooting purpose, guys. There is a one more thing you have to check: the permitted IP address in your management interface. So these are the few checks which you need to perform, and I think I have written all of them at the end. Let me just tell you. We have to check the connectivity between the devices. Make sure TCP port number 3978 is open and available from the device to your panorama, because let's suppose your panorama is behind some firewall, or this Palo Alto firewall also maybe some behind some layer 3 to layer 4 inspection firewall like ASA. Right? In that case, we have to open this particular port number through this ASA, right? So we have to look for that option as well. We have to make sure the certificate has been generated and installed on the panorama if we are using some custom certificates. We have to confirm the serial number is configured in the panorama. We have to check the permitted IP list is configured for the management interface in your firewall and your panorama. We have to make sure the panorama operating system version is greater than or equals to your managed device version. Panorama can manage the device running supported PAN-OS versions of the same or lower versions. We have to check the MTU settings. We have to verify that there is not a large time difference. So we have to also look for the time difference between your Palo Alto time and your panorama time. And we have to also check the correct authentication key, guys. Now, if you remember 10.1 onwards, they've introduced one authentication key. So you have to put the right authentication key if you want to onboard your devices. So that's how, or these are the some checks which we need to do in case of if there is any connectivity issue or if there is any communication issue between your firewall and your panorama environment. I hope Mahesh you got the things right, or shall I repeat again? Okay, so now let me just go here. Now guys, what is device group in panorama? So now let's try to understand these two things. So guys, if I'll go into my firewall, in your firewall you have these tabs, right? We have a policies tab, right? Where your security policies, your net policies, your quality of service policy, your policy based forwarding, your SSL decryption, tunnel inspection, application override, authentication policy, your DOS policy, and SD-WAN policy, right? These are the these type of policy we can able to create in your Palo Alto firewall from this policy tab. Apart from this, we have this object tab, right? We can able to create address object, address groups, dynamic user groups, application groups, application filters, services, right? We can able to define your layers and profiles for antivirus protection, anti-spyware protection, vulnerability protection, URL filtering, wildfire protection, all these things, right? So guys, these two parts, if you want to manage through this panorama, you have to create a device group in your panorama. What you have to create a device group in your panorama. Now you got the point here. What is device group all about? Why we need device group in panorama? Now, if you will go here, you can see I have a policy tab and object tab. Right now I'm on panorama and you can see this comes under your device group settings. And if you will go here into my policies, generally guys, by default, there is a one device group which is shared is already created for you. This device group by default you will get. And after that, what according to your reason, you can create one global device group where you can put the global rules. Let's suppose you have few 10 applications, you wants to block these 10 applications, right? Let's suppose you have some block listed IP address, you want to block these IP address on all the firewalls, some global settings. These settings you can able to put into the global device group. And after that, what? You can create one regional device group. And after that, you can put the device group with regards to the local firewall. with regards to the site. Now let's try to understand these things through some diagrams. So generally what we use to create, let's suppose I have some shared device group, right? Where I will put some shared setting. Let me just tell you one. Let's suppose guys, in your production environment, you have just 2 radius servers. Guys, these radius server IP address is same for all the devices or not? What do you will think? Right? It is similar for all the devices. In that case, what you have to do, you have to put this type of setting into the shared. Let's say if you have some global, some symmetric configuration which you want into all your data center firewall. In that case, you can create one data center device group. Now, let's suppose you have a 2 data center, one in North America and another one in Europe. You can create some North America related config and Europe related config here. So we have to create a device group in such a way so we can utilize these settings. Okay, that's how we will create a device group. Now, there is some inheritance which we need to take care. Let's suppose we have created one object like test object. We provide the value which is 1.1.1/32. And let's suppose I have also created one test object here into testing device group. And here I have put the value which is 2.2./32. In that case, in your firewall, this particular value is preferred because you know inheritance works from top to bottom. Whatever value you have in the bottom device group, it will take the high precedence. That's how your device group concept works. You can divide these things with regards to geographic location, right? Let's suppose you have some global settings, so you can put into the shared device group. Then you have some few settings for APAC region firewall, some settings for Europe region firewall, some setting for America region firewall. Like in your APAC, let's suppose you have two DNS server, DNS1 and DNS2. You have a dedicated DNS server for Europe region. You have a dedicated DNS server for America region, right? Put these dedicated settings here. And after that, you have some firewall in Japan country, right? So here you have some Japan firewall specific rules. You have some firewall in India, so you have some India specific security policies and object and rules, right? So we have to put all these settings for all the firewalls in India in this particular device group. So that's how we will maintain the device group stuffs in your Panorama environment. Okay. Now, guys, what we have to understand what is shared device group concept. So shared device group is the default device group which is by default created by Panorama forwards, and we cannot able to delete this particular shared device group. And whatever settings, whatever configuration we want to push into all the firewalls. Let's suppose you have 1,000 firewalls and you want, there is a few rules, rule 1 to 10, and you want these 10 rules into all these 1,000 firewalls. In that case, what we have to do, we will put these rules into this shared device group. That's how we will basically manage these things. This is all about your shared device group concept, guys, in your Palo Alto. Now, let's try to understand what Panorama policy order. What is the order of policies? Let's suppose you have created some policies from Panorama. Let's say I have this firewall. So right now I'm just having one rule here. Like I have some rules here in my pre-rules section. I have some rule here into post rule, and I have some default rules as well, right? And I do have some local rules as well on my firewall here. Now, how the order happens, guys? What used to happen in that case? if I will go here, so guys, always your pre-rules take the high precedence. And after that, your local rules take the precedent. Means these are the local rules which we have configured into the firewall locally through the firewall graphical user interface or the CLI interface. These are the rules which we have pushed from Panorama. And after that, your rules, the post rules which we received from the Panorama into this firewall. And after that, your default rules. So that's how your security policy order works. Pre rules, which is coming from Panorama, then local rules, firewall local rules, then post rules, which is coming from Panorama, and the default rules, which is also coming from this Panorama. So that's the exact order of these particular rules. Now, if you have a multiple device groups, in that case, what will happen? Let's suppose I have some rules configured on shared pre rules. Then I have some device groups as well. So in that case, we'll take the shared pre-rules first. Then it will take the device group pre-rules. Then your local firewall policies. Then device group post rule. Then shared post rule. Then intrazone default and intrazone default. That's the behavior. That is a one very interesting question asked by one of the person. He is asking, let's suppose if Panorama fails, what is going to happen with the pre and post rule? So let me just tell you, once you will push the configuration into your firewall, now it is when your configuration is activated in this firewall. Now, if your Panorama become unreachable, your rules will still works. But there is a one hack. Let's suppose you have pushed some configuration from this Panorama into this firewall. You have pushed some configuration. And due to this post configuration, your firewall is not able to communicate this Panorama. In that case, what it will do, it will roll back the things. It will go into the previous working configuration. Even though these things you can able to control, you can change, you can deselect this particular option, and you can able to basically control this setting. So it used to works in this way. What is the disable override option in your object? Because you know, when you are going to create any object here into object tab, let's suppose you are creating let's suppose you are creating some objects here. What do you mean by this disable override? Which means when you will select this option, disable override option, so whatever object you have created, now if there is any other device group is also available, right? And on that device group, you want to change the value of this particular object group. That is not doable if you will select this option. Disable override means override will be disabled. Okay, so that's how this particular disable override option works in your Panorama environment. Okay, so that's it, guys. Today I will just focus on these questions. Now, the other question we will see in next lecture actually. Let me just give you the mute permissions now.